Hi guys! I bet you thought you weren't going to have to hear my voice this week. Well, you were wrong. Today we're going to talk about graphing lines using slope and y-intercept. We are also going to review how to find slope given the graph of a line. If you missed something during the lesson, you can go back and watch the video again from Blackboard. Okay, let's get started. We are going to do a few problems from your homework during our lesson. So make sure you have the homework packet and a pencil handy. Oh, and please make sure your laptop lids are down. You will need to wait to use the restroom until I am done talking. Are we ready? We are going to start with number 1. We have y equals 7/2 x minus 2. First, it might be nice to identify the slope and y-intercept. Since slope is m, the slope for this example is 7 over 2, or m equals 7 over 2. The y-intercept is b, so b equals negative 2. Don't forget the negative sign on the 2. Now, I believe many of you already know how to graph this way, but humor me and pay attention anyway. We start with the y-intercept. We will put a point at negative 2 on the y-axis. Get it? Y-intercept on the y-axis. The graphs on your paper are badly numbered on the negative part of the y-axis, so just count the squares to tell where you are. Now we use the slope to find a couple more points. Since slope is rise over run, I get to go up 7 and over 2 to the right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2.
I went up and to the right because the slope is positive. But there isn't enough graph to go up 7 more, so what now? Well, it just so happens that 2 negatives make a positive. So if I go down 7 and left 2, my slope will still be positive.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2.
Down and left are both negative on the graph. Now I can simply draw a straight line through my 3 points. It is true that 2 points form a line, but I want you to graph 3 points to make sure it is actually a straight line and you haven't made a mistake. Now let's try number 2. Y equals negative 6x plus 3. So in this example, b equals 3 and m equals negative 6. I will place my first point at 3 on the y-axis. This is the y-intercept where x equals 0, so it is the point 0, 3. Next, I need to use my slope. I have to make negative 6 into a fraction, negative 6 over 1, so that I actually have rise over run. I will go down 6 because the slope is negative, and to the right 1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then over 1. 1.
My second point has to go up 6 from the y-intercept, so now I will go to the left one to make the slope negative again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and to the left 1.
If I want to check my answer, I notice that I have points at negative 1, 9, (0, 3), and 1, negative 3. I can try each of these points in my equation to check my work.
The equation for my line is y is equal to negative 6x plus 3. The first thing I am going to do is plug in my first coordinate, which is negative 1, 9. My 9 is my y value, and my -1 is my x value. My equation now reads 9 is equal to -6 times -1 plus 3. If I follow order of operations, I will do my multiplication first, which -6 times -1 is a positive 6. Next comes addition. 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 is equal to 9. That point worked in my equation. My next coordinate is 0, 3. 3 is my y value, and 0 is my x value. 3 is equal to -6 times 0 plus 3. I will first multiply -6 times 0, which is 0. That leaves me with 3 is equal to 3. That checks out as well. Let's see if my final coordinate will work. 1, -3. -3 is my y value, and +1 is my x value. I will first multiply -6 times 1, which gives me a -6. Next comes addition. -6 plus 3 is -3, which means -3 is equal to -3. All three of our coordinate points worked in the equation.
Next, we're going to do number 4. Y equals -5. Where's the x? Since x isn't there, the slope has to be 0. So, b equals -5, and m equals 0. We can make a point at -5 on the y-axis as a start. Since the slope is 0, we will graph this one using a t-chart. If x equals 0, y equals -5. That's the y-intercept. If x equals 1, what is y? Yes, it is still -5. How about x equal 4? Yep, y is still -5. So we end up with a horizontal line at -5. This makes sense because the slope is 0. Okay, one more graphing example. Number 6. X equals 5. Now I'm really confused. What happened to y? How can I have a y-intercept when there is no y? I can't. So let's do another t-chart. This time, I will start with the y values. When y equals 0, x equals 5. When y equals 1, x equals 5.
Hold on.
When y equals 2, x equals 5. So no matter what y is, x is 5. We have a vertical line at 5. The rest of the graphing problems are part of your homework. Now turn to the page with the title, Finding Slope from a Graph. These graphs, number 1 through 8, have points chosen for you to make it easy to get started. My first point is at 0, 0. I want to find rise over run, so I'm going to count up and then over to the next point. From 0, 0, I count up 1 and over 2 to the right to find my second point. Therefore, my slope is 1/2. Does it make sense that my slope is positive? Yes, because the line goes up to the right. This time I see a point at 3, -3, and one at 2, 1. I also notice that the slope is positive. I'm going to start with the lower point, 3, -3, so that I can count up and right for my slope. I go up 4 and over 1 to get to the second point. So, my slope is 4 over 1, or just 4. Let's try one on the next page. These are a little trickier because they haven't marked the points for me. I will have to choose them for myself. I'm going to choose points that are at crossing lines. It looks to me like the line crosses nicely at -3, -4, and 0, 4. I'm going to use these 2 points. Again, the slope is positive, so I will start at the lower one so that I can count up. I count 8 up, and 3 to the right. So my slope is 8 over 3. Now we're going to do number 16. This line has negative slope. It goes down to the right. My points are going to be -1, 4, and 4, -4. This time I am going to start with the higher point so that I can count down to the right, the direction of the slope. I count down 8, and right 5. Since I went down, my slope is -8 over 5. Of course, we can always use the slope formula to check our work. Let's try it. So our points are -1, 4, and 4, -4. In order to use the slope formula, I'm going to label my points. x1, y1, x2, y2. My slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So my first y is y2, so that's -4, minus y1, which is 4, and this is over x2, which is 4, minus -1. So in order to get the final answer, we're going to have -4 minus 4, which is -8, and 4 minus a -1, which is really 4 plus 1, so it's 5. This matches what we had on the previous page. The rest of the worksheet is your homework. Get as much of it done as you can during the rest of class. This is due tomorrow.